Welcome to the Explainer. Okay, let's dive into this, because today we are unpacking a really fascinating biological mystery that's probably hiding in your fridge right now. We're looking at what actually happens inside your body when you drink a zero-sugar soda. Now, to be clear, there's no diet advice here. We just want to uncover the incredible, hidden mechanics operating beneath your skin literally every time you pop the tab on a diet drink.
Zero sugar, but your body still reacts like this. For decades, the narrative has been super simple, right? No calories means no biological consequences. But your body is this highly calibrated, ancient machine. It's evolved over millions of years to expect very specific things. So when it encounters artificial sweeteners, these compounds that deliver intense sweetness without the energy to back it up, it basically experiences what we can best describe as a fascinating system glitch.
So, what exactly happens when you taste sweet but absorb 0 calories? To answer this, we're going to go on the journey of a sip. We'll trace the exact chronological path a 0-calorie sweetener takes through your body. And remember, we are looking strictly at the hidden biological mechanics at play here. No moral judgments, just pure, absolutely fascinating science derived straight from clinical research and metabolic studies.
And this really matters, because right now, 40% of Americans regularly consume sugar substitutes. 40%! It's an absolutely massive part of everyday life. People use them to reduce calories, manage their weight, or just cut down on sugar. But since so many of us are exposed to these compounds daily, understanding this hidden biological response is incredibly relevant to our overall metabolic health.
Let's start right at the beginning of the journey with Phase 1, the biological bait and switch.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that the reaction doesn't actually start in your stomach. It starts the exact millisecond the liquid hits your tongue. Your sweet taste receptors act like a biological tripwire, triggering something called the cephalic phase insulin response, or CPIR. Let's break that down real quick. Cephalic basically just means relating to the head. This is your body's early warning system. Because your mouth tasted sweetness, your brain naturally assumes a massive payload of carbohydrates is on the way. It wants to be ready, so it anticipates a spike in blood sugar before the drink even gets anywhere near your stomach.
So here's the exact rapid-fire biological sequence. Step 1, your tongue tastes the sweet diet soda. Step 2, your brain instantly signals your pancreas. And Step 3, the pancreas preemptively releases a rapid spike of insulin straight into your bloodstream, getting totally ready to process the sugar it fully expects is coming down the pipe.
But, well, here's where the glitch happens. The payload never arrives. You drank 0 calories. You drank 0 sugar. So your pancreas just released all this insulin into the bloodstream to handle a carbohydrate load that literally doesn't exist. This creates an immediate metabolic imbalance. The whole system was essentially hacked by the sweet taste, and now you've got an insulin response without the sugar to match it.
Which naturally leads us directly into Phase 2, a confused brain. To see exactly how the brain reacts to this missing payload, researchers at the USC Keck School of Medicine used fMRI brain scans on 75 participants. And this brilliantly illustrates the contrast. When you look at the brain on real sugar, the body registers the calories and naturally releases hormones like GLP-1. These are satiety hormones. They tell the brain, okay, we're full, go ahead and decrease hunger. But the brain on sucralose, it releases absolutely no fullness hormones whatsoever. 0. Instead, those fMRI scans showed a massive increase in activity in the hypothalamus, which is the region of your brain that drives appetite.
And the data back this up perfectly. When participants rated their hunger after drinking either water, real sugar, or sucralose, the results were honestly pretty striking. Water was the lowest, as you'd guess. Sugar was in the middle, but the 0-calorie sucralose drink triggered the highest hunger ratings. I mean, think about that wild paradox for a second. Consuming 0 calories actually led to the highest hunger. And crucially, these effects were the strongest in individuals who already had obesity. The artificial sweetener was literally making them hungrier than if they had just drank a plain glass of water.
Those fMRI scans showed exactly why this was happening. The researchers saw altered brain connectivity. The hypothalamus was aggressively communicating with motivation centers in the anterior cingulate cortex. That's the part that handles sensory processing and decision-making. Essentially, the brain was just confused. It tasted sweet, it got no energy in return, and so it began aggressively searching for those missing calories. It was literally lighting up the exact centers of the brain that motivate you to go find food.
As the study's lead author, Dr. Kathleen Page, put it, if your body is expecting a calorie because of the sweetness but doesn't get the calorie it's expecting, that could change the way the brain is primed to crave those substances over time. The mismatch is subconsciously driving your future eating behaviors. It's basically a phantom hunger, completely created by a chemical trick.
Now let's follow that sip even further down into the digestive tract for phase 3, altering the gut ecosystem.
For a really long time, scientists actually thought these sweeteners just passed right through us, without interacting with the body at all. But a landmark study published in the journal Nature completely changed how we view this. The researchers found that artificial sweeteners dramatically impacted the gut microbiome. In mice, exposure led to altered gut bacteria and glucose intolerance, which means their bodies simply stopped processing sugar correctly. And when they tested it on humans, giving them the FDA's maximum acceptable daily intake for just 7 days, well, some individuals showed such severe changes in their blood glucose levels that they reached pre-diabetic states in just a week. A single week!
But, as we know, correlation isn't always causation. So the researchers did this fascinating, almost forensic experiment. They actually took feces from the mice that had been fed artificial sweeteners, and they transplanted it into totally healthy, germ-free mice who had never even tasted a sweetener in their entire lives. The result? No way around it, the healthy mice instantly developed glucose intolerance. The glitch had been transferred solely through that altered gut bacteria.
Let's move to and see how this builds when you zoom out to look at the larger picture. A normal gut has beautifully balanced microbes and stable glucose processing. But frequent exposure creates what we can kind of call a sweetener gut. The microscopic ecosystem is totally disrupted, leading to glucose resistance. It's actually believed that the very bacteria responsible for regulating glucose might be getting pushed out by the artificial sweeteners.
So what happens when we pull back from the microscopic view? We enter phase 4, the long-term consequences.
What does all this biological confusion actually mean over years or even decades of daily consumption? So the crucial point is that you aren't just dealing with one isolated reaction here. You're dealing with cumulative system glitches happening simultaneously all over the body. You've got unused insulin circulating in your bloodstream from the initial bait and switch. You've got a brain that's permanently primed for sweet cravings because it's always searching for those missing calories. And you have a gut microbiome slowly shifting away from healthy glucose processing.
This brings us to a really great quote from Dr. Brian Black. He's an osteopathic physician specializing in family medicine. Just looking objectively at the data, he notes, "The public would benefit from awareness of potential long-term metabolic health consequences that may exist with artificial sugar use in diet beverages." Again, we aren't taking sides here or saying these drinks are entirely evil. We're simply pointing out the undeniable, long-term metabolic toll of running this daily bait and switch on your own biology. And the sheer scale of this is completely unprecedented. Following their approval back in the early 1980s, the consumption of certain leading artificial sweeteners increased 17-fold in just 8 years. We literally dropped a brand new chemical variable into the human diet at a massive scale. And human biology simply hasn't evolved fast enough to decode these substances. Our brains and our guts are still playing by the ancient rules of nature, where sweet naturally equals energy.
Which leaves us with this final thought. If our bodies are so perfectly calibrated to count the calories we taste, to prepare our pancreas, to signal our brain, and to balance our gut, what's the true biological cost of hacking that system just for a 0-calorie label? The next time you reach for a diet soda, you might just picture that hidden, microscopic cascade of events you're setting off inside your own body. Thanks for joining me on The Explainer.